Good morning. I'm Dr. Sadia Ghazi, Lead Educator in Physician Communication. Today we are going to talk about demonstrating coordinated care. This is Block 10. We can divide demonstrating coordinated care into three categories: putting a name on it, following through with communication, and playing up your colleagues. Put a name on it. What do we mean when we say this? Well, we've already discussed the importance of mentioning your own name. We've talked about ways for the patient to remember who you are, whether this be through a business card or writing your name on the whiteboard. But putting a name on it does not just refer to yourself. Other team members need a name as well. So rather than referring to the nurse as the nurse, you should mention them by name. The nurse's name is readily available in the chart or on the whiteboard. Talk about case managers and social workers by name as well. We meet with them, we discuss patient care with them at multidisciplinary rounds. We should know who they are and mention them by name when referring to them with the patient. Similarly, when you talk to new consultants, if you know their name, mention it when speaking to the patients. Outside of the team in the hospital, the patient has their own team at home. When referring to family members or friends you have spoken to, mention them by name. Don't say your wife or your son. Say their name instead. Remember, utilizing a person's name shows personal connection and teamwork. It gives the patient a sense that they are part of a cohesive and caring team. Do communicate. What do we mean by this? Outside of the face-to-face communication that you have with the patient at the bedside, there is a lot of communication that needs to be done once that face-to-face encounter is over. It is very important to communicate with the other members of the team. Communicating with nurses verbally or via a secure chat is just as important as giving your own patient updates. For patients with complex medical or social situations, consider rounding with the nurses at the bedside. Good patient care requires all team members to be well informed. Communicating with family members of the patient is equally important. An effective way for this to be done is by calling family while you are at the bedside. This not only saves you time, as you no longer have to go back to your office and make additional phone calls, but it gives you the chance to spend more time with the patient at the bedside as well. It is ideal to consider afternoon rounds on patients, especially for those who have major updates or changes in the plan, if it cannot be done on all patients. Doing a quick pop-in helps to keep patients well informed. You could even consider a quick phone call to the patient room to give them verbal updates. Remember, better communication with the patient always goes hand in hand with better communication with the rest of the team, whether that be the team at the hospital or the patient's team of supportive family and friends at home. Play up your colleagues. What does it mean to play up your colleagues? Well, we've talked about mentioning your colleagues and team members by name, but whenever you do, it is important that you add a positive statement along with it. We have multiple opportunities to do this. Whenever there is a service change or transfer, getting on board new consultants, and of course, as mentioned before, when referring to the nurses, the case managers, social workers, or any other ancillary staff. Let's look at some examples of how we can do this. I know our social worker John is trying his best to get you to the rehab of your first choice. You are lucky Anna is your nurse today. She's great. My colleague, Dr. Smith, will be taking over from tomorrow. He will take excellent care of you. You were admitted by my colleague, Dr. Baker, last night. She told me all about you. We are moving you to the step-down unit. You will be in good hands over there. Use this month to practice these skills. Remember, The key points are to take note of your team members' names. Utilize their names in conversations. Give them some credit when you speak about them. Always look for opportunities to speak positively about your colleagues. Don't forget, use the whiteboard. Communicate with other team members about updates on the patient plan. Involve the nurses when you are rounding. Consider calling family members while at the bedside.